Alex Miller stood at the entrance of the Galactic Academy of Sciences, his heart racing as he looked up at the massive crystal building that seemed to float among the clouds. Today was his first day as the very first human exchange student at the most prestigious school in the galaxy. He adjusted his standard-issue blue uniform and took a deep breath of the thin air. The atmosphere on Centauri Prime was much lighter than Earth's, making him feel strangely buoyant with each step. The orientation packet had warned him about this, along with dozens of other differences he would experience. "Welcome, Earth being," said a melodic voice behind him. Alex turned to see a tall, willowy creature with silvery skin and large almond-shaped eyes. "I am Administrator Krell. We have been most curious about your arrival." Alex extended his hand, then quickly pulled it back, remembering the cultural briefing. Many species found physical contact alarming. "Thank you for having me. I'm Alex Miller, from Earth." Krell's eyes widened slightly. "Yes, the Class 12 planet. Most unusual. Please follow me for processing." As they walked through the main hall, Alex noticed how other students stopped to stare. Some whispered to each other, while others moved away as he passed. He heard the word Deathworlder several times. The processing room was filled with advanced technology Alex had never seen before. A blue-skinned female with gills along her neck operated a floating console. "This is Medical Officer Ayla," Krell explained. "She will perform your final health screening." Ayla approached cautiously. "Please remain still, Earth being. This won't harm you." She held up a scanner that emitted a soft hum. "You can call me Alex," he said with a smile. The scanner suddenly beeped loudly. Ayla jumped back, her gills fluttering rapidly. "Is something wrong?" Alex asked. "Your bone density," she replied, checking the readings again. "And muscle mass. They are far beyond our normal parameters." Krell leaned forward to look at the screen. "Is this accurate?" "Yes, Administrator. And there's more. His system contains several billion microorganisms living inside him." Alex laughed. "That's normal for humans. We have a microbiome that helps us digest food and fight disease." The two aliens stared at him in shock. "You knowingly harbor foreign organisms inside your body?" Krell asked, voice trembling slightly. "We couldn't survive without them," Alex explained. News of the strange humans spread quickly. By lunchtime, Alex sat alone at the cafeteria as students gave him a wide berth. The food, synthesized nutrient blocks, tasted bland, but he ate without complaint. "May I join you?" asked a calm voice. Alex looked up to see a blue-skinned student with webbed hands. Unlike Ayla, this alien had no visible gills, just faint lines on her neck. "Please do," Alex said, grateful for the company. "I'm Lori Bennett, half Aquarian, half Terran, though I've never been to Earth." She sat down across from him. "You're causing quite a stir." "I noticed," Alex said. "I didn't expect to be treated like I have 2 heads." 3 heads would be normal for the Travaxians, Lori said with a smile. "But a human. Earth is legendary. Many believe the stories about your planet are exaggerated." Before Alex could respond, a tall insectoid professor approached their table. His compound eyes reflected Alex's image back at him multiple times. "Student Miller, I am Professor Zixtol, Cynobiology Department. Your presence here provides a rare opportunity for research." His mandibles clicked with excitement. "I would like to interview you about Earth conditions. For science." Sure," Alex replied uncertainly. "Excellent. After your Earth custom of consuming nutrients, please report to Laboratory 7. With that, the professor scuttled away. Lori shook her head. "Looks like you're already a celebrity." In the distance, a stern-looking security officer with granite-like skin watched Alex intently. The officer, Dean Vorex, made notes on his tablet. "Subject appears externally similar to standard humanoids. Monitoring will continue," he muttered. Alex sighed and poked at his food. His first day was going to be longer than he expected. Alex walked into Laboratory 7 after lunch. The room was larger than he expected, with gleaming surfaces and equipment he couldn't name. Professor Zixtol stood in the center, surrounded by several other faculty members who whispered excitedly when Alex entered. "Ah, the Earth specimen arrives," Professor Zixtol said, his antennae twitching. "We have prepared a series of basic physical tests. Nothing harmful, I assure you." Alex nodded. "What kind of tests?" A machine rose from the floor, a simple platform with glowing panels. "Just stand here," the professor instructed. "We want to measure your physical capabilities." As Alex stepped onto the platform, screens around the room lit up with his vital signs. The alien scientists gasped. "Your heart, it has only 4 chambers and pumps at such pressure," one exclaimed. "And look at the oxygen requirements," another added. Professor Zixtol clicked his mandibles. "Now, Student Miller, please lift this." A robotic arm presented Alex with what looked like a metal bar. He took it and was surprised at how light it felt. "Is this all?" Alex asked, easily lifting it with one hand. The room fell silent. Professor Zixtol made adjustment notes. That weight would strain most Class 3 planet species. "Perhaps the gravity differential is affecting our readings. Let's continue." For the next hour, Alex performed increasingly difficult physical tasks that seemed simple to him. Running on a treadmill, reacting to flashing lights, gripping strength tests. With each test, the scientist's excitement grew. Lori Bennett watched from the doorway, smiling at Alex's confusion. "They've never seen anything like you," she explained when the tests paused. "I grew up hearing stories about humans from my father, but even I didn't believe half of them." Alex wiped sweat from his brow. "This is all normal for Earth. Our gravity is stronger, our atmosphere thicker. We evolved to survive there." The final test involved temperature resistance. Alex stood in a chamber as the temperature dropped rapidly. The scientists watched in amazement as he merely shivered. -10 degrees Celsius, and his core temperature has barely changed, one scientist noted. When Alex emerged, Dean Vorex had joined the observers. The security officer's stone-like face remained impassive, but his eyes narrowed. "Professor," Vorex said, "I must question the wisdom of bringing a species with such capabilities into our academy." Professor Zixtol's compound eyes flashed. "This is precisely why we need him here, Dean. The scientific value is immeasurable." Later, in the student recreation area, Alex sat with Lori and explained Earth's seasons. "So water just falls from your sky regularly, and sometimes it freezes?" asked a nearby student named Frank, whose crystalline body glimmered under the lights. "We call it rain and snow," Alex said. "It's normal." "And you've experienced broken bones?" Lori asked. "My father mentioned this once." Alex nodded. "I broke my arm when I was 10. Fell out of a tree. It healed in about 6 weeks." The alien students looked at each other in shock. For most species, a broken limb was a life-altering injury. "How many bones have you broken?" asked Kyle, a reptilian student who had been listening nearby. 3, I think. Arm, finger, and a toe." Alex shrugged. "Nothing serious." Kyle's scales paled slightly as he backed away. Across the room, Dean Vorex made notes on his tablet. His stone fingers tapped aggressively. "Subject demonstrates concerning resilience and apparent experience with significant physical trauma," he muttered. "Recommendation: increased monitoring." That night in his quarters, Alex recorded a message home. "Mom, Dad, you wouldn't believe how they treat me here. Like I'm some kind of superhero just for being human. Tomorrow I have to give a presentation about Earth in biology class. Professor Zixtol thinks no one will believe me when I tell them about our weather." He looked out the window at the 3 moons glowing softly in the alien sky. "I miss home, but I'm starting to think this exchange program might be more important than we realized." These aliens need to understand us if we're going to join the galactic community. Alex didn't notice the small surveillance drone hovering outside his window, recording everything. The advanced xenobiology classroom buzzed with excitement. Today was homeworld presentations, and everyone wanted to hear about Earth. Alex sat nervously at his desk, reviewing the images and videos he had brought from home. Professor Zixtal clicked his mandibles for attention. Today, Student Miller will present on Class 12 Planet Earth. I remind everyone that scientific skepticism is healthy, but proper respect is required. Alex walked to the front of the room. The display screen behind him activated, showing Earth from space, a blue and green marble wrapped in swirling white clouds. This is Earth, Alex began. We call it the blue planet because over 70% is covered in water. A student with gills raised a webbed hand. Is the water safe to touch? Most of it is salt water, but yes, we swim in it for fun, Alex replied. He tapped his screen to show children playing at a beach. But we also have dangers in our oceans. The next image showed a great white shark. Several students gasped. This is a shark, one of thousands of predator species in our oceans. They rarely attack humans, but when they do, it can be deadly. Kyle, the reptilian student, leaned forward. You share your world with such creatures. By choice. Alex nodded. We've learned to coexist with our predators. He swiped to the next image, showing a grizzly bear. This lives on land. It can run at 35 miles per hour and has claws that can tear through metal. The classroom fell silent. Your species allows these creatures to exist, someone asked in disbelief. We protect them, actually. Many are endangered, Alex explained. But natural dangers aren't just animals. The next series of images showed tornadoes, hurricanes, and lightning storms. Alex described wind speeds that could lift buildings and rain that could flood entire cities. When he showed footage of a tornado tearing through a town, Kyle fainted, sliding from his chair to the floor with a thud. Two students helped carry Kyle to the medical bay while Alex continued. We also have earthquakes that shake the ground, volcanoes that spew molten rock, and temperatures that range from -50 to +50 degrees Celsius, depending on location. Lori raised her hand. How do humans survive all this? We adapt, Alex said simply. We build structures to withstand storms, develop technologies to predict disasters, and learn how to avoid dangerous animals. Professor Zixtal's antennae quivered with excitement. And what about microscopic threats? Earth is known for its aggressive microbiome. Alex showed images of bacteria and viruses, magnified thousands of times. These are everywhere on Earth, in the soil, water, air, and even inside us. Some cause diseases that have killed millions throughout our history. The class collectively moved back in their seats. But Alex continued, we've developed medicines, and our bodies have natural defenses. Most humans live with thousands of different microbe species on their skin alone. Frank, the crystalline student, raised a glittering hand. You're saying you're constantly under attack from invisible enemies. I never thought of it that way, Alex admitted. It's just normal life for us. And injuries? Asked Professor Zixtal. How do Earth humans handle physical trauma? Alex showed an image of a hospital emergency room. We have medical facilities, but most minor injuries heal on their own. Cuts seal themselves, broken bones regrow, bruises fade. Without medical intervention? Asked an astonished student. For minor things, yes, Alex said. Our bodies repair themselves. After class, students surrounded Alex with questions. Some asked to touch his skin, amazed at its toughness. Others wanted to know more about Earth's dangers. Professor Zixtal watched with satisfaction, recording notes. Human resilience extends beyond physical attributes to psychological adaptation. They have normalized constant threat awareness and developed cultural practices around survival. Remarkable evolutionary path. In his office, Dean Vorex reviewed the presentation recording with growing concern. A species that evolves alongside such dangers will perceive our environments as soft, he muttered. This human could survive conditions that would kill our security forces. Recommend restricted access to critical systems. Meanwhile, Lori caught up with Alex in the hallway. That was amazing, she said. I didn't realize Earth was so intense. How do you deal with the fear? Alex looked puzzled. What fear? Of everything trying to kill you, she explained. Alex laughed. I guess we don't think about it much. It's just home. 2 weeks later, the Academy announced an educational field trip to Serenity IV, a Class II garden world with mild conditions. The trip was meant to teach students about ecosystem balance in controlled environments. This will be your first off-campus experience, Administrator Krell told the assembled students. Serenity IV is perfectly safe, with no dangerous wildlife or weather patterns. Still, stay with your assigned groups. On the transport shuttle, Alex sat next to Lori, Frank, the crystalline student, and 2 others. A gaseous being named Pax who stayed contained in a special suit, and a 4-armed student named Neri, completed their group. Is this exciting for you? Lori asked Alex. Seeing another world. Alex nodded. On Earth, we've only colonized our moon and Mars. This is all new to me. Frank's crystal body chimed softly as he spoke. For us, this is routine. But Professor Zixtal says we should see it through your eyes. As an adventure. The shuttle landed in a wide meadow filled with purple grass. The sky above was a soft pink, with 2 small suns glowing warmly. Trees with silver leaves swayed gently in the light breeze. It's beautiful, Alex said as they stepped out. And most importantly, safe, Neri added with her 4 arms making a gesture of peace. No Earth-style disasters here. The class broke into groups to collect samples and record observations. Alex's group hiked toward a small lake that shimmered in the distance. Everything seemed peaceful until about 2 hours into their expedition. Those clouds weren't there before, Pax noted, his gaseous form swirling nervously inside his containment suit. Alex looked up to see dark purple clouds gathering quickly. The wind began to pick up, bending the silver trees at a sharp angle. Professor Zixtal's voice came through their communication devices. All groups return immediately. An unexpected ionic storm is approaching. This is not part of our plan. Alex's group turned back, but the storm moved faster than they could. The wind became so strong that Pax had trouble keeping his suit grounded. The shuttle is too far. Lori shouted over the howling wind. We need shelter now. Lightning-like energy crackled through the clouds, interfering with their communication devices. They were cut off from the rest of the class. What do we do? Frank asked, his crystalline body vibrating with fear. This never happens on Serenity IV. Alex scanned their surroundings with practiced eyes. There. He pointed to a formation of rocks near a cluster of trees. We can build a shelter there. Build? Neri questioned. With what? Without hesitation, Alex began collecting fallen branches and directing the others. Frank, help me move these larger branches. Lori, find something we can use to tie them together. Neri, your 4 arms are perfect for holding the structure while we secure it. The storm intensified as they worked. Alex showed them how to weave smaller branches to create walls against the wind. He positioned rocks to secure the bottom of their makeshift shelter. On Earth, we call this survival training, Alex explained as they huddled inside the surprisingly sturdy structure. Most human children learn basic shelter building. A loud crack split the air as a silver tree nearby was hit by energy from the storm. It fell, missing their shelter by mere feet. We would be dead if we were out there, Pax observed, his gaseous form condensing with fear. We're safe here, Alex assured them. The structure will hold. For 3 hours, they waited out the storm. Alex kept their spirits up by telling stories about camping trips on Earth, tales of fishing in rainstorms, hiking through snow, and sleeping under the stars despite warnings of bear sightings. "You did this for fun?" Frank asked incredulously. "Putting yourself in danger?" Alex laughed. "Compared to this, those were just minor inconveniences. Earth camping can be much worse." When the storm finally passed, rescue teams found them not huddled in fear, but sitting comfortably in their sturdy shelter, with Alex teaching the others how to play rock, paper, scissors. "Remarkable," Professor Zixtal said when he saw what they had built. "Student Miller, you've turned a crisis into a learning opportunity." On the shuttle ride back, the other students looked at Alex with new respect. Even Dean Vorex, who had joined the rescue team, watched thoughtfully as Alex explained to fascinated classmates how humans had learned to survive in far worse conditions than a simple ionic storm. "Perhaps," Vorex muttered to himself, "the human's adaptability could be an asset rather than just a threat." Lori nudged Alex as they approached the academy. "You realize you're no longer just the strange Earth student, right? You're now the survival expert who kept his team alive." Alex smiled. "On Earth, we would call this just another camping trip." News of Alex's quick thinking during the Serenity IV storm spread throughout the academy. Students who had once avoided him now nodded respectfully when he passed in hallways. Professor Zixtal had even used the shelter design in his lecture about adaptive problem-solving. 1 month into the semester, Alex sat in the cafeteria with Lori, Frank, and several other students who had become his friends. They were discussing the differences between their home planets when alarms suddenly blared throughout the academy. "Emergency in Laboratory 12," announced a calm voice over the speakers. "Medical response teams report immediately. All students return to quarters." "What's happening?" Alex asked as students began moving quickly toward the exits. Lori's face had turned a paler shade of blue. "Laboratory 12 is where they work with chemical compounds. This could be bad." As they filed out of the cafeteria, Dr. Ilara rushed past them, medical equipment floating behind her on a gravity pad. Her face showed clear worry. "What kind of emergency?" Frank asked a passing security officer. "Chemical exposure," the officer replied. "Several students and 2 professors were working with a new compound. Something went wrong." Alex felt a chill. On Earth, chemical spills could be deadly. Are they going to be okay? The officer's expression darkened. "The compound is new. They don't have a treatment yet." Alex and his friends returned to their quarters as instructed, but the academy remained in emergency status for hours. That evening, Alex received an unexpected message on his room console. "Student Miller, please report to the medical center immediately. Authorization. Dr. Ilara." When Alex arrived, the medical center was in controlled chaos. Medical staff rushed between beds where 6 patients lay, their skin showing strange purple patterns. Dr. Ilara approached him immediately. "Student Miller, thank you for coming. We have a situation where your unique biology might help." She led him to a quiet corner and explained. "The exposed students and faculty came in contact with a compound that's attacking their cellular structures. Our treatments are ineffective." "How can I help?" Alex asked, confused. Professor Zixtal suggested, "And our preliminary analysis confirms that human enzymes might neutralize this compound. Your species evolved with exposure to thousands of toxins. We need a blood sample to test this theory." Alex rolled up his sleeve without hesitation. "Take what you need." Dr. Ilara extracted a sample of his blood, her gills fluttering with relief. "This could save lives." "Thank you." While lab technicians processed his blood, Alex sat next to one of the patients, a young student who looked scared despite the brave face she tried to maintain. "I'm Alex," he said gently. "Vila," she replied, wincing as the purple pattern on her arm spread slightly. "You're the Earth human everyone talks about." Alex nodded. "Dr. Ilara thinks something in my blood might help." "Is it true humans put chemicals in their bodies on purpose?" Vila asked, clearly trying to distract herself from the pain. Alex smiled. "We call it medicine. Throughout our history, we've used chemicals to fight disease. But isn't that dangerous? She asked. Sometimes, Alex admitted, but we learn from each mistake. On Earth, we've survived plagues that killed millions before we found treatments. As they talked, Alex explained how humans had developed vaccines, antibiotics, and surgery. When he described routine dental work, drilling into teeth to remove decay, several nearby medical staff looked horrified. You let someone cut into your body while you're still conscious? One asked in disbelief. For minor procedures, yes, Alex said. Broken bones are set, stitches close wounds, teeth are filled or removed. It's normal medical care. Dr. Ilara returned with excitement in her eyes. It worked. Human enzymes neutralized the compound. We're synthesizing a treatment now. Within hours, the patients began to improve. The purple patterns faded and their pain subsided. The academy director herself came to thank Alex personally. Your willingness to help may have saved these students and faculty, she said formally. The academy is grateful. Word of the Deathworlders' heroism spread quickly. In the following days, students approached Alex with questions about Earth medicine. Professor Zixtal invited him to give a special lecture on human medical history. Even Dean Vorex seemed to soften his stance. Perhaps, he told the academy director, having a species with such resilience as allies rather than threats would be advantageous. Lori caught up with Alex as he left his new medical history lecture. You're becoming something of a celebrity, she teased. The human who bleeds cures. Alex laughed. On Earth, I'm completely ordinary. Here, I'm apparently a walking pharmacy. Not ordinary, Lori corrected. Extraordinary, even for Earth. 2 months into the semester, posters appeared throughout the academy announcing the annual Knowledge Bowl. This competition tested students on various scientific disciplines and problem-solving skills. Teams of 5 would compete for the honor of representing the academy at the Galactic Youth Science Congress. You should join, Lori told Alex as they looked at one of the posters. Alex hesitated. I'm still catching up on galactic science. Most teams are made up of senior students. Frank chimed in, his crystalline body glittering under the hallway lights. That's what makes it perfect. No one would expect a team with an Earth student. Despite his doubts, Alex found himself being registered for a team that included Lori, Frank, Neri, and a new friend. A quiet, plant-based student named Hall who could process information faster than any computer. Their first team meeting was held in a small study room. Hall immediately took charge. We need to assess our strengths, he said, his leafy appendages moving rapidly as he spoke. I excel at calculations and data processing. Lori has extensive knowledge of aquatic ecosystems and fluid dynamics. Frank understands crystalline structures and energy transfer. Neri has 4-dimensional mathematics and engineering skills. Everyone turned to Alex. I'm not sure what I bring, Alex admitted. Earth science is probably primitive compared to yours. But you think differently, Neri said, her 4 arms gesturing enthusiastically. You see problems from a survival perspective. That could be valuable. The team practiced daily, running through sample questions and scenarios. Alex was surprised to find that while he lacked specific knowledge in many areas, his Earth education had given him a broad foundation. More importantly, his human approach to problems, practical and adaptable, often found solutions that his friends missed. On the day of the competition, 20 teams gathered in the Academy's Grand Hall. The event was broadcast throughout the school. Even some representatives from various galactic institutions had come to watch. The first rounds consisted of standard knowledge questions. Hall answered most of these, his plant metabolism processing information rapidly. Lori and Frank contributed their specialized knowledge. Alex and Neri provided support where they could. By midday, their team had advanced to the final 4. The afternoon competition would be different, a practical challenge where teams would face changing conditions and unexpected problems. This is where we'll struggle, Hal worried. We have less experience than the senior teams. Alex smiled. Or this is where we'll shine. Adapting to changing conditions is what humans do best. The final challenge was revealed. Teams would need to design and operate a sustainable ecosystem within a shifting environment. As they worked, judges would introduce new variables, climate changes, resource limitations, or population pressures. The senior teams approached the challenge methodically, using standard formulas and established theories. Alex's team started similarly, but when the first variable changed, a sudden temperature drop, Alex suggested an unorthodox approach. Instead of fighting to maintain the original design, he said, let's build adaptation into the system itself. Drawing from Earth's diverse biomes, Alex showed his teammates how to create redundancies and flexible components. When water became scarce, they had already prepared water collection systems inspired by desert plants from Earth. When temperatures fluctuated wildly, their ecosystem included insulation concepts from both Arctic and tropical regions. The judges watched with interest as Alex's team encountered each new challenge with surprising readiness. Their ecosystem wasn't the most elegant or theoretically perfect, but it was the most resilient. Professor Zixtal observed from the sidelines, his antennae twitching with excitement. Notice how the human approaches problems, he told a colleague. Not with perfect knowledge, but with adaptable frameworks. This is why Deathworld species develop differently. Dean Vorex stood nearby, his stone face showing rare approval. The human doesn't try to control all variables. He expects disaster and plans for it. Interesting strategy. When the final results were announced, Alex's team had won by a narrow margin. The Academy director presented them with the victory medallion, noting specifically the innovative resilience of their approach. Later, as they celebrated, Greg Patterson, a student from a competing senior team, approached Alex. I didn't think a first-year team could win, he admitted, especially not one with an Earth student. But your approach was eye-opening. Alex smiled. On Earth, we have a saying. It's not about having the perfect plan, but being perfectly prepared to change your plan. Lori put her arm around Alex's shoulders. Next stop, the Galactic Youth Science Congress, ready to show the whole galaxy how Earth humans think. Alex nodded, realizing how far he had come from that first nervous day at the Academy. I think they're ready to learn. Winning the Knowledge Bowl brought Alex and his team considerable attention. They were featured in the Academy newsfeed, and students from all years sought their advice on problem-solving approaches. Even some faculty members began incorporating Earth adaptive thinking into their lessons. 3 months into the semester, the Academy announced an important visit. Representatives from the hegemony, one of the oldest and most powerful species in the galaxy, would be touring the facility. Known for their technological advancement and somewhat superior attitude, the hegemony rarely bothered with educational institutions. This is unusual, Lori told Alex as they ate lunch. The hegemony think they're better than everyone else. They must want something. Who are they exactly? Alex asked. Frank's crystalline body hummed softly. They evolved on a perfectly stable Class 1 world. No seasons, no disasters, ideal conditions. They've never had to adapt to hardship, so they devoted all their energy to technological advancement. They consider themselves the pinnacle of evolution, Neri added, her 4 arms making a dismissive gesture. And they're not very impressed with species from higher-class worlds. On the day of the visit, all students and faculty gathered in the Grand Hall. The hegemony delegation entered, tall, slender beings with pale skin and large eyes. They moved with perfect grace and wore clothing that seemed to shift colors with their movements. Academy Director Susan Blake welcomed them formally. We are honored by your presence, representatives of the hegemony. We hope your visit will be enlightening. The lead hegemony representative, Ambassador Exar, nodded slightly. We are curious about your diverse educational approach, particularly your recent inclusion of less advanced species. His eyes scanned the crowd and paused briefly on Alex, the only human present. After the formal welcome, the The delegates toured the academy, observing classes and laboratories. Students were encouraged to present their projects. When it was Alex's team's turn, they explained their winning Knowledge Bowl approach. Ambassador XR listened with a polite but dismissive expression. Interesting. You rely on primitive adaptation strategies rather than perfect initial design, typical of species from less fortunate worlds. Alex felt a flash of annoyance, but kept his voice calm. We don't see adaptation as primitive, Ambassador. On Earth, we value flexibility and resilience alongside efficiency. Ah yes, Earth. The ambassador's voice held barely disguised contempt. The Class 12 Deathworld had somehow produced a sentient species, a primitive backwater producing savage species who mistake violence and aggression for strength. The room fell silent. Even Dean Vorex seemed shocked by the open insult. Alex took a deep breath, remembering his diplomatic training before coming to the academy. On Earth, he had participated in international exchange programs where he learned to bridge cultural differences. With respect, Ambassador, Alex said calmly, different evolutionary paths produce different strengths. Earth's challenges created our adaptability, just as your world's stability allowed for your technological focus. Neither is superior. They're just different adaptations to different environments. The ambassador seemed surprised by Alex's measured response. Before he could reply, alarms blared throughout the room. The gravity generators that maintained comfortable conditions for all species were malfunctioning. Warning: gravity fluctuation in progress, announced the system. Prepare for rapid changes. Panic erupted as the gravity began to increase. For many species, the growing pressure was immediately dangerous. The hegemony representatives, evolved in low gravity, were particularly vulnerable. Ambassador XR collapsed to the floor, unable to stand. Without hesitation, Alex moved to the ambassador's side. Despite the increasing gravity pulling at his own muscles, he helped the ambassador to a nearby emergency shelter designed to maintain standard gravity during malfunctions. Why are you helping me after my insult? Ambassador XR asked weakly. On Earth, we help people in danger regardless of personal feelings, Alex explained, straining against the growing pressure. It's a survival trait from our primitive world. Alex managed to get the ambassador and two other hegemony delegates to safety before the emergency systems engaged and restored normal gravity. Medical teams arrived quickly to tend to those affected. Director Blake approached Alex afterward. Your quick action may have prevented a diplomatic incident, Student Miller. The hegemony delegates would have been seriously injured. Ambassador XR, recovering nearby, watched Alex thoughtfully. Perhaps, he said quietly, there is something to be learned from Deathworld adaptations after all. That evening, as the academy returned to normal operations, Lori found Alex in the library. You know, you could have let the ambassador struggle a bit, she teased. After what he said about Earth. Alex shook his head. That's not how humans work. At least, not how we should work. Earth must be an interesting place, Lori said, to produce people who help those who insult them. It's not perfect, Alex admitted. But we've learned that holding grudges takes energy better spent on survival. As the academic year approached its end, the academy buzzed with excitement. Students prepared final projects, packed belongings, and made plans for the break. For Alex, it meant returning to Earth after nearly a standard galactic year away. On his last evening, Director Blake organized a special ceremony. The grand hall was filled with students and faculty. Even Ambassador XR had returned with a small hegemony delegation. Today we celebrate a successful year of galactic education and cooperation. Director Blake began, and we recognize the unique contributions of our first Earth exchange student, Alex Miller. Alex sat beside his friends, surprised by the attention. He had simply tried to survive and adapt, just as he would have on Earth. When the human exchange program was proposed, Director Blake continued, many doubted its value. Some feared a species from a Class 12 Deathworld would be too aggressive or unpredictable. Instead, student Miller has shown us that hardship can forge remarkable qualities: adaptability, resourcefulness, and compassion. Professor Zixtel stepped forward, his mandibles clicking excitedly. Based on our observations of student Miller, I am pleased to announce a new research initiative focused on Deathworld adaptations. With Earth as our primary study site, we hope to better understand how challenging environments shape both biology and culture. Dean Vorex spoke next, his stone face showing unusual animation. Security concerns have been replaced by security opportunities. The Academy will implement emergency protocols based on Earth survival strategies, making our institution safer for all species. Lori whispered to Alex, "They're completely fascinated by you." Alex whispered back, "By Earth, not me. I'm just an average human." "There's no such thing as an average human." Frank chimed softly from Alex's other side. The ceremony continued with several students speaking about what they had learned from Alex Kyle, the reptilian student who had once fainted during Alex's presentation, admitted that he had started studying Earth disasters out of morbid curiosity and found himself admiring human resilience. When it was Alex's turn to speak, he approached the podium feeling nervous but proud. "When I came here, I thought I would be learning from you," he began. "And I have learned so much about the galaxy, science, and different species. But I never expected to learn about Earth by seeing it through your eyes." He paused, looking at the faces of friends he had made. "On Earth, we take for granted our ability to adapt, to survive, to work together against threats. Here, I've come to appreciate that these aren't just human traits. They're Earth traits, forged by our challenging world. Every species adapts to its environment in remarkable ways. What seems ordinary to one might be extraordinary to another." Ambassador XR approached the podium when Alex finished. "The hegemony has reconsidered its position on Deathworld species. We have much to learn from each other's evolutionary paths. Therefore, we will support expanded exchange programs with Earth." After the ceremony, Alex's friends presented him with a data crystal containing information about their homeworlds. "So you can visit us someday," Lori explained, her blue skin flushing slightly darker. "Or at least understand us better," added Hall, his leaves rustling with emotion. "I'll miss all of you," Alex said, genuinely moved. The next morning, as Alex prepared to board the transport back to Earth, Director Blake met him at the docking bay. "3 new human students will arrive next term," she informed him. "Your success has opened the door for more Earth-galactic cooperation." "Will they face the same fear I did?" Alex asked. Director Blake smiled. "No, they'll find eager guides instead. Your friends have volunteered to serve as mentors. They're quite excited to meet more humans and learn about Earth." As the transport lifted off, Alex looked out the window at the academy below. What had begun as a strange, sometimes frightening adventure had become something much more significant: the beginning of Earth's true integration into the galactic community. On his console, messages from his classmates appeared. "Bring back Earth seeds for my collection." From Hall. "My parents want to meet a human. Visit Aquaria next break." From Lori. "Academy won't be the same without our Deathworlder." From Frank. And even one from Dean Vorex. "Remember, survival skills are universal. Thank you for the lessons." Alex smiled as the ship entered jump space. He couldn't wait to tell his family about his year, and he couldn't wait to see what the next generation of Earth students would teach the galaxy. In his bag was a small journal where he had recorded every moment when his normal Earth stories had shocked his classmates. He planned to publish it when he got home. He had already chosen the title, Tales from a Deathworld. How Earth's toughest student astonished classmates with ordinary human stories.